that it warrants the total and permanent destruction of a person's life? Now, to the social media mob, the answer is always yes. By now, you may have heard the name Shiloh Hendrix. Up until last week, no one outside of her friends and personal acquaintances knew she existed. Now she's at the center of one of the more intense social media controversies that we've seen in recent years. And it all began in the late afternoon on April 28th, when the woman we now know as Shiloh Hendrix took her young child to a park in Rochester, Minnesota. And at some point, a black child, reportedly 5 years old, tried to steal something from her diaper rack. Shiloh apparently responded in anger, and as the story goes, she called the boy the N-word. Now, a man named Sharmaki Omar, a Somali immigrant and not the boy's father, allegedly witnessed this altercation and decides to pull out his phone. And the resulting video has gone extremely viral across every major social media platform. Here,
You call him a child? Did you call the child the word? It is non-business. You call him a. Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say. Nobody digging to your shoes. That little kid, you call him a. The little child? Are you allowed to hit him? You chase him here? He took my son's stuff. So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old and the N-word. If that's what he's gonna act. That's what you're gonna call him. That's what he's gonna act. You know that's the hate speech, and you can be recorded for that. I don't give a Huh. Okay, we'll see about that. What the internet has to say about you.
now, before we continue with the story, which takes several more twists and turns, we should note a few things. First of all,
That was brutal. That was not a good look. Not a good look. Not how you should act in front of your child. Not how you should act in front of other children. I don't know what's going on in her life or what was going on in her life at that point, but um, your child is definitely absorbing that. I have a child. You know, they repeat commercials. They repeat things that they hear. So the child is has a chance at least of saying that as well. So for the child to go play, I don't know if the child's in daycare, but what if the child goes to daycare and says the word? She's putting her child in a pretty bad situation. Um, so yeah, so that's first with that. And then second, where was the black kid's parent at? Where was his brother? Where was his cousin, guardian? Was this child homeless? What was going on? Why is this child um, roaming the park and digging through people's stuff? Again, that's 100% wrong. Nobody is trying to find an excuse for the child. But at the end of the day, it is a child that makes a mistake, and kids are the ones that learn the lessons of life, or they're supposed to. They're supposed to have a little bit more lenience, especially from adults, when it comes to making a mistake, especially at a playground. But let's see what he has to say.
we don't actually know for sure that the boy is 5 years old. That's coming from the man filming, who is apparently not related to the child. In the video, we appear to get a glimpse of the kid, and from the glimpse anyway, he definitely looks older than 5. Omar has additionally claimed that the boy is autistic, which we also have no proof of. And we have the footage of the actual encounter between the kid and this woman. Did she scream the N-word in his face? Did she mutter it under her breath? Did she say it about the child after he'd already run away? We don't know. And as far as I've seen,
Now that's bullshit, because she clearly was saying the N-word to the camera, to the man, with the child on the playground. So it's not something under her breath, something that the child may not have heard. It was loud enough for someone to hear in the vicinity, So it's bull. It's an excuse to try to diminish the situation by saying we don't know what actually happened. She gave her statement of what happened in the moment, heat of the action. He gave his statement in shock, videotaping the moment to try to hold her accountable for what she was doing. And for you to say, we don't know how she approached the child, again, it's basically just trying to downplay what's going on.
We haven't heard anything from the boys' parents. We don't know where they were in all of this, if they were even there. It's very strange.
So it is.
So there are many aspects of this story that are bizarre and unconfirmed. And here's another disturbing detail. The Somali man behind the camera, Omar, was charged a couple of years ago with sexually assaulting a minor. And according to the local news channel KTTC, those charges were dismissed. A separate report by the local ABC affiliate adds that the charges were dismissed, quote, in the interest of justice, whatever the hell that was. But whatever it means, now Omar, who was previously charged with sexually assaulting a minor, is at a playground with his camera out filming. So
you're trying to hold it against this man to be at the playground filming, even though the charges were dismissed. So again, trying to downplay the situation, downplay the person that's recording, trying to make it weird that he's at the playground. Again, that's something that's speculation. That's something we don't have facts on of why he was there. So to try to throw in, oh, he has a charge in the past of something with a minor. Again, he's not doing nothing illegal, and he's not. Who knows what he was recording? You know, you don't have his phone and have evidence of him recording children just for fun. You know, so that's all speculation. So that's again trying to discredit the source of the video. Again, downplaying her role, her wrongdoing, even though you may think it's wrong, you're still trying to put everything around her in the situation to give her an excuse for why she did what she did. Again, just it's phony. It's how can you? That's why she's acting like that, because she probably has people like him in her life that don't hold her accountable to what she does or what she says, makes excuses to why she did that, and you know it's everyone else's fault.
make of all that what you will. So there are quite a few details that still need to be filled in here, but the saga continues anyway. What happened next is quite predicted. The social media mob went to work. They set out to identify this, at the time, anonymous woman and ruin her life, or worse. Here's one of the guys who got things ticked off. Watch.
God help us. She claims that other child took her son's belongings. That's what kicked this off. The guy who recorded the video is familiar with the other child. When he brings his children there, that child and his siblings are often there and play together. The kid she's going after has autism. He doesn't behave in a neurotypical way. And even if he didn't have autism, nothing he could have done would justify her calling him slurs and pursuing him physically, which is what she says she was doing before this guy intervened. He said after he stopped, she sat down, hurled more slurs, told him and his wife that they should leave the country, and then got on the phone and acted like she was calling someone to come down there and handle pain. Fortunately, no one came, and eventually she packed up the child and left.
That's ratchet behavior to me. It sounds like she's acting like the ratchet people she's trying to call the child. You know, it's very, very interesting. I'm gonna call someone up here to handle that. That sounds like something a black person would do. Oh, let me go. That's facts. I don't know. It's disgusting to push that on other people. You know, like that child, who knows that child's experiences. Me as a black person, I heard the N-word as a young age, and it was pretty traumatic. It wasn't a situation where I was like, oh, whatever. No, I believe I got in fights about that. It was nothing where it was something I just digested. It's crazy to think that if I heard it in music, or if I heard in other places, to not know someone's saying it out of disrespect, or someone's trying to belittle me or shame me, that's different. And children are smart enough to recognize stuff like that. A lot of times her tone, I'm sure, was not nothing where the kid didn't understand that she was trying to say something bad to him. So it's crazy to me, like, how she is able to, you know, go on with herself like that. It's just, especially as a mother, like, you have such an important role in society as a mother. to your child, and not even to other kids. Like, you have a role to your own child, and you didn't do your role. You did disservice that day for sure.
But this woman is a danger to children. She doesn't need to be on a playground or around other kids. And she has at least one child of her own, which is also concerning. So Rochester, Minnesota, someone do me a favor. Take a close look at her tattoos. You can see her face clearly. Someone, please, tell me who she is.
Okay, so she's a danger to children. She should.
I had a friend who he made a video. Well, his sister sent him a picture of a dog, and she's like, "Isn't it cute?" And it was on Facebook or something like that. Now, us growing up, we always had a funny sense of humor, and the movie Anchorman came out, right? And there's a scene in it where Will Ferrell was driving on the highway, and he's eating something, or, eating his breakfast or whatever, drink coffee or whatever, and the coffee doesn't like it or whatever, throws it out the window. He doesn't know he is Jack Black riding on a motorcycle, in the lane behind him. So Jack Black crashes his bike, and he's distraught. He's like, "Oh my goodness, my baby, my bike." He's like, "That's the one thing in this world that I love, is that bike." And Will Ferrell stops the car and he's like, "Oh my goodness, are you okay, sir?" Tries to help. And he's like, "Man, why would you do that? Why did you do that? What is wrong with you?" And Will Ferrell is like, "Oh, well, I'm not sure what you mean." And Jack Black was like, "That's the one thing in this world I love." He said, "You know what? What do you love in this world?" And Will Ferrell goes on some things and he says some non-materialistic things like, "Oh, my job," or, he loves this, that, and the third. Then he says, "And of course, my dog Baxter here." So then Jack Black takes the dog, picks it up, and kicks it off the bridge. And Will Ferrell's like, "Whoa!" Hilarious scene. He calls in the worker. He's like inaudible, like he's mumbling on the phone, and they can't understand him. It's a hilarious scene. But so my friend, he refers to that and he says, "I take that dog and I kick it off a bridge." Now, people literally started reporting him. They called his job, tried to get him fired. They researched him, found his name, posted his number, like everything like that, like really went after him. He didn't lose his job or anything like that, because he's a good person and people know him. So they know that, okay, it was a bad joke, but at the same time, he was just kidding around. But it's crazy. The internet will get on you. They will be on that ass. if you get against the common opinion on things.
Saying the N. She shouldn't be allowed at playgrounds, not the guy that was charged with sexually assaulting minor. But he says, "Please, internet, find her," and countless others joined in. And in some cases, they were calling for the woman to be imprisoned for saying a bad word. What?
Share. Trying to find the woman.
And it is a hate crime.
Calls on the boy the N-word, the 5-year-old little boy, autistic boy. She needs to be found and locked up.
Hold on. Did she just say artistic boy? Come on now. He probably picked this video on purpose to try to like discredit again the situation. Like, art. Come on now. That's silly. It's autistic. AU autistic. But that's crazy.
Please tap in.
Now, there are many other videos of people hoping that she would be found and physically assaulted or killed. Some were even threatening violence against her baby that you can see in the video. Here's one example.
He said, "Hey, TikTok, I just got a real quick question. So we all know what happened with Shiloh Hendrix and how she got all this money, right? The wrong reasons. But you know what? It is what it is at this point, right? So I'm just sitting here thinking, what about the baby? What about the baby? Because technically, that baby is going to grow up and be part of the Triple K. That baby might grow up to be here. That baby's going to grow up and probably be the worst of the worst out there in the world. And you know what? I don't want that baby policing children that look like me. I don't want that baby growing up doing anything else to people that look like me, all because it was taught that. But since, unfortunately, CPS is not going to be able to do nothing, what should we do? I think you guys should let me know in the comments, because part of my thinking was, Start a GoFundMe, raise about $1 million. Go slap the hell out that baby. Make that baby brainless or something for a while. At least you still get to live. I mean,
Ignorance. That's literally start a GoFundMe, raise $1 million to slap a baby. What? That's crazy. And then also, hopefully the child goes through life and learns that that was wrong and becomes a better person. And this is like one of those catalyst moments, how God works, like one of those moments where it don't play out the way you think. We don't know the future. We only see a very small macro picture compared to the the big scheme of things. So it's crazy to just assume the kid's going to turn out bad. I'm saying that the kid is going to take up those habits and immediately might do things because kids are repetitive and he doesn't know what's right or wrong at this point. Just like that kid at the park possibly didn't know what was right or wrong. So we need to give the kids, all kids, white, black, Spanish, Asian, all kids, a chance to learn, if they make a mistake. It needs to be all around. It's not kids get more chances than the others. Then, that's not how it's going to work. So this is straight ignorance. The guy saying this to go viral or, for clicks or whatever. It's lame.
this might be But hey, that's what happens when you grow up with racist ass parents. You gotta eat their consequences.
They got to eat.
I would say that encouraging people to beat a baby unconscious is worse than saying a bad word to a child, a lot worse. And yet there's no mom forming against that guy or the dozens of other people who hit like on that video.
They're not.
So this is all unfolded as you expect up to this point, leading to the predictable news that the Rochester Police Department is now actively investigating the woman, and others began calling for CPS to get involved, to retrieve a child from the home. For example, there's a guy who put up on the screen who wrote a letter to CPS, which he published on his website, claiming again that Shiloh is a danger to her own child and that the child should be taken out of the home. And pretty soon, with thousands upon thousands of people whipped into a pitchfork mob, she had been identified by name, but not just her name. Her phone number was posted all over the internet. Her address, her social security number, her alleged places of employment. People were calling her phone and making death threats and then bragging about it openly. Again, so far this story is following the script so that we all know by heart. A random person is caught on camera doing something rude or offensive. The video is posted by some third party, usually somebody who wasn't even involved in the incident. And then thousands of sociopaths set out to destroy the person's life and possibly get them killed, all for as a form of sadistic entertainment. Nobody stops up.
I don't agree with the mob mentality of the pitchfork grab, get everyone together and let's go gang up on somebody, like being back in high school, you're going to fight somebody and that person that went around and said, hey, I'm going to fight Danny, I'm going to fight Danny. And they go and grab everybody and it's a whole mob coming down the hallway to try to intimidate the person. But then the fight gets broken up within 5 seconds because everybody's on notice now because you try to get attention. That was your initial hidden reason to do all this. You didn't really want the smoke. You didn't want the problems. You just wanted people to think that you're down. So you got all the people instead of having the people hear about your actions. So I don't agree with that. But at the same time, I feel like it's their false sense of justice. I feel like they believe they are handling moral justice since there's no moral police. There's nobody that can defend freedom of speech. Since we are able to say whatever we want to say, it's not illegal. It's not a crime. But at the same time, we need to be held accountable for our words and our actions. So if these people, they believe that they're the ones to come and stand for the moral justice and try to give out the punishment to the people who are harming common folks, So I don't agree with it, but I don't agree with his take on why they're doing it either.
To think about the consequences. There's no consideration of proportionality. Saying the N-word to a child in the moment of anger is so bad that it warrants the total and permanent destruction of a person's life. Is it so bad that they deserve to have their physical safety and the safety of their family put in jeopardy? Is it so bad that they deserve to have their child assaulted? Is it that kind of bad? Now, to the social media mob, the answer is always yes. It's always yes, that is, provided that the offending stranger fits certain parameters. And the most important parameter is that the person.
The problem is that there's no punishment for this. You know, Black people don't have um, control over things in her life where they can just affect her generally, that they're that angry about it or whatever. So it's people are trying to do things as they see fit, and there's a whole bunch of different levels of people, how they feel about it and how they're going to react to the situation. Again, there's going to be people that are wrong. There's going to be people who are right. There's going to be people who don't care. You know, it's going to be a lot of different opinions, especially in the Black culture, because there's a lot of division. So, you know, it's not, you can't look at the internet and choose and pick and choose when you want to take it seriously. You know, like these people are trying to do what they can, but we know internet justice isn't justice. We know people are going to talk and do whatever they want online, but this is a real life situation. This is her in person, what she's doing, you know, so she should be held accountable. We just don't have a punishment on the books, or we don't know what's fair to do against that when you know she's clearly traumatizing a child. 2 children.
The offender is white. And we all know how this script ends. The offender, in a desperate attempt to call off the dog, tearfully apologizes and begs for mercy, a mercy that they surely will not receive. But that is where the M. Night Shyamalan twist ending comes into play.
First of all, that's not, for them to apologize is something that's usually not what happens. George Zimmerman, there's the police officers, there's so many situations where the accuser, does not apologize. They stand down on what they did, and they are supported through their standing down. Most people they don't apologize. And saying that because that fits his narrative.
Because Shiloh Hendrix did not apologize. Instead, she posted a crowdfunding campaign on GiveSendGo where she doubled down and defended her actions and asked for help to relocate and get her family to safety. And then a double twist. A different group formed to counter the outrage mob. They started donating to her campaign, and she surpassed her original funding goal in less than a day. Within 3 days, she has earned over $500,000. Now she's somewhere north of $600,000. So the woman who was supposed to have her life ruined by the mob is instead on her way to potentially becoming a millionaire. Now, this twist, as you can imagine, has outraged the outrage mob even more, but a large number of prominent people on the right were also horrified by this turn of events. Just as one example, Colin Wright tweeted, "The woke right is now mirroring the woke left tendency to glorify and martyr immoral degenerates solely based on shared racial identity. This woke one-upmanship is a race to the very bottom."
Now this slide right here is pretty ridiculous. Trying to compare Carmelo Anthony's situation to her situation. One, he's a child, she's an adult. Mistreating a child. He's a child that mistreated another child 100%. Nobody's saying that he's right. He got money for going through legal systems, or people donated to him if you go through his page because they support that, you know, he had $1 million bond that was set. Whether you think he was right or wrong, the people who wanted to support him, they were donating most likely to try to help with $1 million bond to try to make sure he doesn't end up in jail and go through the system like most Black men do. So it's, you know, it's a whole comparing apples and orange thing. It's like, it's not the same at all. His thing was not anything to do with race. Literally, his was, you know, bad judgment call, and him, you know, bringing things to places where he shouldn't have, and, you know, working out of fear and things like that, comparing to a woman literally verbally attacking a child. Like, that's not, and saying people are sick of it. Again, it's just people find excuses to make themselves victims in other situations. This stuff has nothing to do with you. Like, her calling the N-word to a child is everything to do with that child and how he's gonna grow up and affect him. And again, she needs to learn that you can't approach people like that. She needs to learn that at the playground, kids are gonna do that. And if you can't handle how kids are going to act at the playground, don't go there. Don't be there. If you can't handle it, if you're not going to talk to people and be civil, then don't go there. Don't go in public. That's just how it is. You can stay home and act as racist as you like, and no one can say anything to you because you're welcome to do that. But when you go out and start affecting other people, you need to be held accountable. Again, just like this boy is going to be held accountable, what with God or with whoever he believes in or whatever goes on in the future, we have no idea, you know. And to see that she's donated here at this point, it looks like over $500,000 she's raised. Now I recently looked at the numbers that she has on it, and it's over $700,000 now. And people are literally commenting, I stand by, you did nothing wrong. That was one of the comments. You did nothing wrong. Another one of them was, uh, uh, no white guilt. So they're saying this stuff and using it as an excuse to try to support bad behavior. And again, two wrongs don't make a right. I don't understand why people are trying to walk around and act like it's okay to do something wrong to another wrong action and it's going to result in something valid. We all know two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. It's always been said. It's who made that up? We don't even know. It's always been said. Like, it's literally just, we know this. So for people to start supporting a wrong and them supporting it is wrong, and him talking about, though, now this going to fix things in culture because two wrongs is going to make the things, that doesn't make sense.
Many conservative influencers and commentators, many of them who I like and respect, have echoed this sentiment. They say that, the people donating to this woman are behaving no better than the left. They say that this is the right version of the Carmelo Anthony fundraiser that also raised $500,000, even though he stabbed somebody to death, which I hope we can agree is far, far worse than saying a bad word. Some have even speculated that this whole thing is some kind of psyop meant to delegitimize the movement and make conservatives look racists. To that, I must assure them, despite how it may seem, that not everything is a psyop. There are things that really just happen in life. Some things do just happen, and I think this is one of them. Now, I understand that
It's crazy because there's not many black things that you can look around and say that it was supported, like, through an ignorant situation. Like, if you look at the George Floyd situation, or I believe it was Eric Holder, or different things, people try to say they were already criminals and different things, reasons why you shouldn't support them, you know? And when it came to, like, the Black Lives Matter thing, all that money was donated, but again, it wasn't used in the right way. It was literally um, stolen from the people that donated and tried to support that cause. Uh, for the Carmelo Anthony thing, they said he got that money, or he's young. He didn't get the money. His parents got the money, and they moved and they got a new house and did all those other things. Or uh, people aren't spending the money where you think that happens. But for a racist person, or for someone to have hurt a black person and gotten support from that, is not something that's new. Again, that's George Zimmerman got a lot of support. There's the case where the police officers, they went on leaves, they got support. I know, at least publicly. I'm not sure financially. There's the boy who during the riots protected the store and shot some people. He got protected um, for killing somebody. There's the I think the boy on the subway that killed somebody. He got money and protected for killing somebody. So again, for his argument, for the sake of his argument, I don't know if he knows these things or not, but it sure does sound good that this only happens in this situation because now they're trying to benefit the white guilt, or they're sick of the white guilt. So now all of a sudden they just feel this is not nothing new. It's not nothing new. This is an extreme case why we need to bring this to light. We need to highlight this, and people who support things like this, need to understand that you're racist or like you support racism, and that's, you know, you just need to admit that and be honest with yourself, but don't try to twist it and turn it into, oh, it's white guilt. We're sick of feeling down for the things that our ancestors did. Nah, you're doing something right now. This is something that's present.
Some people on my side feel, to put it scientifically, icky about this whole thing. I understand why they feel icky. I understand why they don't want to condone saying racial slurs to children. I don't want to condone it either, and I don't. And nobody really does. But I think they're missing the point. In the past, most people,
She condoned it. And the people who were giving her money that said you did nothing wrong, they condone it. So there's people who are literally looking at the situation saying that she did nothing wrong.
enjoy genuine privacy. What fame? Well, the internet. Now every search, browse, and tweet becomes part of your
We skip it through the ads. So we get our own ads, you know what I'm saying?
It can't help but recoil, and yeah, it is unsavory. You wish a net positive that this woman has raised. A net positive that this woman has raised $500,000. I'm glad. I hope she raises $1 million. I will not be joining with some of my conservative friends in wagging my finger at her donors. And
That means he donated.
first of all,
He's donated.
she does have a legitimate need for the money. The mom is truly trying to get her killed.
I'm sure she does.
I don't believe that a woman should get her life threatened for saying a word, even a bad.
Making it worse, she's getting threatened to be killed. I'm sure she is being threatened online. And again, she put herself in that situation by speaking ignorantly to a child and then thinking that there's going to be no consequences for her action. Now she's suffering consequences, and there's a surprise, and and now he's trying to say, oh, it shouldn't be that bad. How can you can't judge on it when some anti-Semitic things happen? What a lot of bad things happen, right? A lot of when people talk bad about a lot of different races that have a power and they have effect on things, they do affect the people who spoke out that way. It's not unless the group who said it, or unless they have backing in their own group, they're not going to get support for it. So it's again, just he says what he wants to make himself sound good. I can't stand people who build their arguments that way. Like, use facts. His video probably has millions of views. Like, you need to give valid information to people and not trying to manipulate it to make himself look good. That's crazy.
And you could say freedom of speech, but not freedom from consequences for your speech all you want. But if losing your livelihood and having your house burned down is a consequence of your speech, then you do not have free speech. Supporting free speech means supporting someone's ability to speak without having their family murdered for it. Okay, I mean, that should be pretty obvious. Second, more importantly, and this is a part that I really need everyone to stop and think about. This is the most devastating attack on cancel culture that we have seen, possibly ever. Shiloh Hendrix has, without really trying, effectively ended cancel culture. As Mark Dice said in his video about the incident, Shiloh is the final boss of cancel culture, or maybe rather the final boss that cancel culture has to fight. And I think that's right. This is the part that many conservatives seem to be missing. All they see is that this woman said something bad and is now getting rewarded for it. The whole thing is so unsavory that they can't help but recoil. And yeah, it is unsavory. You wish that Shiloh had said or done something that we could affirmatively defend. That would be much easier. Nobody wants to affirmatively defend cussing out a 5-year-old, even though I don't think the kid's actually 5. But
What does that matter?
none of that is the point. The point is that the only way to put an end to this routine, the routine where the outrage mob mobilizes and assembles to destroy somebody's life, is to disincentivize the routine. And the only way to disincentivize that behavior is to reward the person who's being targeted. Now, we can complain all we want about the mob tactics and how they silence and punish people.
That's so hypocritical. How can he get mad at people supporting Carmelo Anthony again? I don't agree with that. I know that boy did something wrong. I did not support it. How can you be upset about him being supported and then say that her support is going to fix everything? It's literally like it's so hypocritical. It's disgusting. Like it's nasty work trying to manipulate people that way. There's so many ignorant people that watch stuff and they don't understand. And oh, because he can articulate his words, he knows what he's talking about. But if you listen to what he's saying, he's constantly contradicting himself, like constantly. Like it's literally, are you with people paying for and supporting people to do what they want? And if they want to get money for their actions, whether it be right or wrong, are you supporting it or you're not? Like he's trying to make this gray area of this is gonna cancel culture. What? Are you serious? Foolish.
Exact vengeance in wildly disproportionate ways. We can condemn it. We can write think pieces about it. We can deliver monologues. None of that matters. None of that will stop them. The only thing that can stop them, the only thing that will make them think twice about doing this again, is if they know that instead of getting their target canceled, they might accidentally make them rich. And more importantly, even than the money, they must know that their attempt to isolate and ostracize somebody will fail. That for every person condemning the targeted person, two more will rally to their defense. You know, the motto of the cancel mob for a long time has always been, make this person famous. And a lot of them were saying that about Shiloh. Let's make her famous. Now, the assumption is that the fame will have an exclusively negative effect on the person. Making them famous means making them unsafe, making them bankrupt, making them persona non grata. With this case, that assumption has been flipped on its head. Because now the mob knows that making them famous might help them more than hurt them. Rather than the fame being punished, it's rewarded. That's the only way to stop stuff.
And he doesn't think that now more people are going to think ignorantly and do actions like this to try to get famous. No, it's only going to be people who are going to think twice about trying to put someone on blast for doing something wrong. Because again, in this case, she's wrong. And in the Carmelo Anthony case, he's wrong, but they're both being supported. And again, there's a lot of people in this world and we all don't have the same opinions. So we can't force people to support something. Do I agree with people supporting this woman? I definitely don't. Do I agree with people supporting Carmelo Anthony? I don't support that either. But you have to understand that there's people and they have money and they want to do with it what they want to do with it. We don't have control on it. So there's a lot of ignorant people in this world that have been put up on pedestals and projected based off of bad decisions. Like it's not the first time. Again, now, a lot of people I've asked, how do you feel about this? It's not the first time this happened. It's not the first. That's all they have to say. It's not the first time that it's happened. So it's like there's a lot of people who are literally desensitized about this. So for him to act like this is something new, it's kind of crazy.
The making them famous tactic now has a powerful disincentive attached. Think of it this way. Justine Sacco is widely considered the patient zero of cancel culture. Back in 2013, she was on a flight to Africa when she tweeted jokingly that she hopes she doesn't get AIDS when she gets to Africa. And when she landed hours later, you're probably familiar with the story, she discovered that her tweet had gone viral across the country. The mob.
I don't think he's going to talk too much more about the Shiloh thing. Yeah, he's just going to give his opinions about stuff that I don't care about because, this is not my type of, it's not my cup of tea of videos. So, I think I've mustered as much as I can. But to sum everything up, I think that she's wrong 100%. She has a lot of learning to do, growing up to do, maturing to do. Hopefully she does that. And, she gets put into positions where people hold her accountable so she could be a better mother to her child and a better person in our community. You know, I hope that that Black child, you know, is not traumatized from this situation, and that, you know, um, it's interesting because, again, a lot of people believe that Black people hear the N-word all the time. It's not something that's common. Good parents don't let their kids hear the N-word. They're not, even if it's in a song, even if it's people coming to the house, you're not allowing that to, you know, disrupt your child's innocence, because what do they have to learn that word for? They don't need to use that in any sentences. They're learning their ABCs. They're learning sight words. You know what I'm saying? They're not worried about throwing insults, you know? So it's crazy to just assume that, um, since the kid is Black and since there's problems in Black culture, that we should just allow certain things, you know? Um, but whatever, we have to sit back, watch the show, and hopefully the world will grow. We're gonna tune out, and hopefully y'all tune back in. Thank y'all for checking in. It's the Magna Podcast. Y'all have a good one.